Good morning, Red Hawks. Thank you for joining us today for our Veterans Day celebration. Today, we are thankful for our veterans and their service, and also thankful for the opportunity to gather as a Red Hawk community for this special occasion. To the members of the class of 2026, I'd like you to take a minute to appreciate this moment and the opportunity to gather together as a class. I would like to thank you in advance for being fully present, paying our veterans the respect they deserve by putting your phones away and giving your students and veterans involved in today's ceremony the gift of your attention. I'll give you a minute to do that. Phones and headphones away, please. Originally celebrated as Armistice Day, November 11th was selected to be a day of remembrance and to honor veterans of World War I because although the war did not officially end until the Treaty of Versailles was signed, hostilities officially ended in 1918 at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. In 1954, this national holiday became known as Veterans Day, a day to honor veterans who have served in our country in all capacities and in all wars. Celebrating veterans on November 11th preserves the historical significance of this date and helps us remember the important purpose of Veterans Day, a celebration to honor America's veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. I would like to thank Mrs. Figge and Mr. Boshensky and the student members of the Veterans Club who were instrumental in the planning of today's ceremony and will lead the introduction of our veterans and honored guests with us here today. To begin, please welcome Campbell Jones, who will share her thoughts about the significance of Veterans Day and community engagement.
Good morning. Today we come together to honor the men and women who have served our country, those who have dedicated themselves to something bigger than just one person. But Veterans Day is not just a date on the calendar. It's a reminder of the courage, service, and sacrifice that safeguard the freedoms that we are granted. As the co-president of Veterans Club, I know many of us, myself included, may not have a personal initial connection to a veteran. However, I've learned that honoring veterans and connecting is not just about having that initial connection. It's about making them and bridging the distance. It's about taking the time to listen to their stories, to understand their strength, to show appreciation for their past, and to show gratitude through our actions. Whether it's volunteering, writing a thank you card, or simply saying thank you for your service, all of these acts help us bridge the distance. They remind our veterans that what they gave up, the time, the effort, time with their family, and opportunities all truly matter to us. So today, as we honor those who have served our country, let's commit ourselves to carrying their spirit of service in our lives. Because remembering veterans is not just about the past or one day, it's about how we choose to live every day. And now we would like to draw your attention to a special video montage that 2020 graduate Jason Lee has helped us put together, highlighting the meaning of Veterans Day in our community. Thank you.
November pain upon us once again. Good pain, though, if there ever was one. When we first stepped onto the grinder, with every walk of life from around the world by our side, we knew what it meant. No race, color, religion, or prejudice could penetrate the loyalty and camaraderie that was developed the moment we stood side by side. Facing hardcore DIs, we understood what we signed up for. At 18, we went from young men to better men. We noticed previous struggle in each other's eyes. We noticed that one recruit glowing by looking at the first pair of boots he's ever owned. We noticed the scared kid from the small town. We noticed that every fear we had would soon be absorbed by the strength beside us, and the weaknesses dissipate by the assurance of those watching our backs. For the first time, we were never truly alone. Our innocent eyes turned into determined vision. Our bodies went from frail to stone. However, our hearts turned to gold because within minutes, we learned the empathy and sympathy for those men's lives we've never lived. For me, every life lesson that I was unaware of was answered that day we got off the bus. Every problem I faced was taken on not just by me anymore, but by the men to my left, right, front, and rear. I was guarded by the future. I was protected by those who were willing to lay it all down for me, as I would for them. That day we became brothers, preservers of the accomplishments of those before us. Someday we will all sit down and see that little struggle in their eyes not be there anymore. Someday I'll see that scared kid from that small town and see how strong he's become. Just remember that when you see your fellow man enter that empty room, it will never be empty again. For only we know, when we look in each other's eyes, the good pain goes away, even just for a moment. I love everyone that I had the chance to serve with, laugh with, bleed with, and fight with. I'd honor you over and over again. Simplify.
Sean Arnold, class of 98, Purple Heart, Battle of Fallujah.
The message I would share is don't underestimate your capabilities and skill sets. Use this opportunity you have to begin evaluating what you can do in your current capacity as well as future capacity, what you can do to serve your country. Some do it in service, some do it out of uniform.
So the military is a great way to fund post-secondary education. In my case, I got an ROTC scholarship that paid for 100% of my tuition at Notre Dame. There's lots of different opportunities that the military provides for helping students and individuals pay for their education. So if you value community, if you value service, if you enjoy travel and you're up for an adventure, the military could be a path for you to consider.
Today's a great day to take some time and think about sacrifice and those who have made that sacrifice, those who have answered the call, and those who have gone before us and paid the ultimate sacrifice to make sure that we can continue to live in freedom.
Military is where you make it. You go in and wanting to get better, you'll be the best enlisted or officer you can be. They give you so many opportunities to succeed and move on in life that it is what you make it of it.
It's normal to be scared of whatever might be in your life. Career decisions, friends, things going on with your family. What do you do next in your life? Because on the other side of fear is great rewards.
My grandfather was in the Army, not by his choice, World War II and Korea. My dad was in Vietnam. I joined the Navy when I was 17. I needed to do it at the time. If you're in the military, while you might be struggling, there are other people that will help you along the way with your struggle. So you're never alone.
My dad served over 20 years in the U.S. Army, and his service, commitment, and sacrifice really inspired me to serve in his footsteps. I'd say that at Naperville Central, we often forget about how many great opportunities we have and how we go to such a great school. Look around you today in that auditorium. Those men and women that are gathered there today gave us those opportunities. So give back to them, give thanks to them. Happy Veterans Day. Go Navy, go Redhawks.
Nothing helps you build a sense of appreciation for the United States and everything you have, especially in Naperville with the type of schools and the community we have, than joining the military and seeing all the different other parts of the country and people who come from different places. You really start to understand sort of the gifts you've been given by being in this community.
Honoring the past, thinking about the men and women who fought for our country, what they experienced, what they went through, and we're trying to draw the lessons that they learned. Thinking about the sacrifices they made and the challenges that they overcame so that we always understand that we walk sort of in the shadows of giants.
Well, I think of Veterans Day and Memorial Day as an opportunity to look back at my own experience and revisit that experience with other veterans. One of the things that being a veteran means to me is that we survived, but we all paid a price. There were sacrifices made not just by ourselves, but by our families. Most of the veterans that I served with they enjoyed their service and they would go back and do it again if they were asked. and that's true for me too.
In the Air Force, we talk a lot about service before self and what that really means. And to me, it means sacrifice. If you look anywhere in the world, you'll find victims of oppression, violence, or even disasters. Sacrifice is really taking the time to put their needs before yours.
Part of it is being part of something bigger than myself. So I know our country is not perfect, but we do have a lot of freedoms and privileges that a lot of places in the world do not have. And I think that's worth protecting and worth serving.
Veterans Day is a time to honor the selfless service and sacrifice of those who have defended our nation. It reminds us of the responsibility to carry forward the legacy and uphold the values of duty, loyalty, and sacrifice. And above all, it's a moment of deep gratitude for the freedoms we enjoy because of their commitment.
It provides a sense of pride. It provides a sense of the ability to give back in a manner that is more than just yourself. You know, it's certainly changed me for the better, most importantly in the aspect of leadership and empathy.
You know, I am very proud to say that I served my country, but it's not about me. I'm just one small, tiny piece of the puzzle, but I am honored to have been able to serve with an amazing group of individuals, and I am forever grateful and thankful for those who have gone before me and kind of paved the way.
Community. It means me hanging out with people who went through the same things I did, and we have such a bond in common that we get to celebrate the fact that we served our country.
Oh, beautiful, for heroes proved.
I had a grandfather and my brother who is currently in the military. The way they had shaped me and the way they've taught me great life lessons is that your life can always be for a bigger purpose, and all the sacrifice they have made is for so many other people. We live our lives today because those people in the military have sacrificed so much, and we live with all the freedoms we do today because those people in the military have sacrificed, some even sacrificed their life, but they sacrificed time with their family, they've sacrificed their health, all so that we can live the life that we want to.
My stepdad, he served in the military. He was mainly with the Marines. I think it's really important to honor the people in the military because a lot of people have gone through so many different things while they're there, whether they're good or bad, and they put their lives on the line.
What it means to have a dad that serves in the country means a lot. It means knowing my dad has defended our country, gone to other countries to either protect them or fight against them to protect ours. Having a dad like that means a lot because I want to be like my dad, follow in his footsteps.
My dad. Thank you. Just like any other military man or woman that's serving now and in the past, I was raised to say thank you, that I appreciate you, because there's a lot that I think people don't realize that they sacrifice, and their families sacrifice, and it's an honor to be able to say thank you to them.
I think it means a lot just to they chose to go serve this country and kind of risk their lives for it. So it definitely makes me very appreciative for them, and definitely I think it teaches me and my family just to be thankful for everything, and you never know what the next day brings, or if there's veterans that have passed or active military members and other family members of people. So it's definitely just taught me to be thankful for everything.
They sacrifice their lives just for us. It inspires me as a person to want to do more for my community and other people around me.
To me, I appreciate them, and I appreciate my dad for raising me the way that he raised me, to be proud.
Thank you for everything you've done. You've taught me how to live my life as a man and live my life as a brother, and you have sacrificed so much for me that you'll never know how thankful I really am.
He told me he would. Every brotherhood from sea to sky, shining seas. Oh Lord, I thank you, Lord.
join me in thanking Jason Lee and all the voices that were featured in that video. Now, if you would please, I'm going to ask if you are able to join, or to stand and for the national anthem and remain standing as Maria, Ty, Elliott, Callum, and Declan lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free?
Thank you for remaining standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to members of our choir, as well as to Maria, Ty, Elliott, Callum, and Declan. At this time, I would like to welcome members of Veterans Club who will introduce our honored guests. Please welcome Ava Rabarchuk, Kelsey Brodzinski, Taylor Bequeath, Emmett Wright, Karen Ung, and Lily Plitt.
Good morning. My name is Ava Rabarchuk. I'm a senior and a 3-year member of the NCHS Veterans Club. It is my honor to recognize our brave men and women who have served in the United States Army. Established in 1775, the Army is the oldest and largest branch in the military. Their primary mission is to protect and defend our nation through ground warfare. For the veterans with us who have served in the United States Army, if you are able, please stand so we can recognize and honor you with the Army song, The Army Goes Rolling On, performed by the NCHS Wind Ensemble.
Good morning.
My name is Kelsey Brodzinski, and I am a senior here at Naperville Central High School, as well as a 4-year member of our Veterans Club. It is my absolute honor to recognize the men and women with us this morning who have served in the United States Coast Guard. Established in 1790, the Coast Guard operates under the Department of Homeland Security and is tasked with maritime safety, security, and environmental protection. For those with us who have served in the United States Coast Guard, please stand if you are able so we may recognize you with the song Semper Paratus, which translates to Always Ready.
Good morning. My name is Taylor Bequeath. As a senior and 3-year member of the NCHS Veterans Club, I am beyond grateful to stand before you today to recognize the men and women who have served in the U.S. Marine Corps. Founded in 1775, the Marines are known for their rapid response capabilities and their commitment to being the first to fight, as they are often the first boots on the ground in a crisis. To the men and women who are with us today and have served in the U.S. Marine Corps, if able, please stand while the NCHS Wind Ensemble performs the Marine Hymn, which is the oldest official song in the U.S. military and is considered a sacred symbol to the Marine Corps.
Hello, my name is Emmett Wright, and as a senior, I have been actively involved with the Veterans Club for the last 3 years of my high school experience. I'm proud to be here with you guys this morning to recognize all who served in the United States Air Force. Established as a separate branch in 1947, the United States Air Force is responsible for aerial warfare and defense. For our Air Force veterans with us this morning who are able to stand, please do so while we recognize you with the official Air Force tune, Wild Blue Yonder.
Hello, my name is Karen Ung, and as a junior and 3-year member of the NCHS Veterans Club, I am honored to stand before you today to recognize the men and women who have served in the United States Navy. Established in 1775, the Navy has been a long symbol of strength, courage, and commitment on world seas. Charged with protecting our nation's freedom through maritime power, the Navy ensures security, peace, and humanitarian aid across the globe. Its sailors serve with honor, courage, and commitment, values that define their proud tradition. To our Navy veterans with us today, if you are able, please stand while the NCHS Wind Ensemble performs Anchors Away, the official song of the United States Navy.
Good morning. My name is Lily Plitt, and I'm a junior here at NCHS, as well as a proud third-year member of the NCHS Veterans Club. It is my privilege to help lead this morning's ceremony in recognition of the courage, sacrifice, and unwavering dedication of our nation's veterans. Before we begin, I'd like to draw your attention to something deeply symbolic. As we gather here today to honor those who have served, you may notice an empty chair placed among our distinguished guests. This chair represents and honors the brave men and women who served our country but never returned home, our prisoners of war, and those missing in action. Today, we pay special tribute to one such hero connected to our very own community. The empty seat also honors Lieutenant Ratish Prasad, who served valiantly in the United States Navy. Lieutenant Prasad was the uncle of NCHS senior Janaki Amerson. He made the ultimate sacrifice while on duty at only 24 years old. Let us please pause for a moment of silence. Before we continue, we would like to take a moment for a very special recognition. Today, we are deeply honored to welcome two distinguished guests who served our nation during World War II, members of what is often called the Greatest Generation. Please join us in recognizing Dr. Peter Piero, who proudly served in the United States Navy, and Mr. Ray Sveinoha, who served the great distinction in both the United States Air Force and the United States Army. Their service during one of the most challenging times in our nation's history represents courage, perseverance, and sacrifice beyond measure. Dr. Piero and Mr. Sveinoha, your presence with us today is a living reminder of the values that built our country: duty, honor, and love of freedom. We thank you both for your extraordinary service, and we are privileged to honor you here today. As we continue our program, the Wind Ensemble now offers a musical tribute to all who have worn the uniform. American Salute, a stirring modern arrangement of When Johnny Comes Marching Home by Morton Gold, captures both the pride and gratitude we feel for our veterans. Today, the Wind Ensemble dedicates this performance to you, with our deepest thanks and appreciation for answering the greatest call to serve our nation.
Good morning. On behalf of the NCHS Veterans Club and our sponsors, Ms. Figge and Mr. Bochensky, we are deeply honored to welcome you to our Veterans Day ceremony. It is an extraordinary privilege to introduce an individual whose life embodies courage, sacrifice, and resilience.
In 2007, our keynote speaker embarked on his second deployment with the 10th Mountain Division of the United States Army, stationed in Baghdad, Iraq. During this deployment, fate placed him on a perilous southern Iraqi roadway where his Humvee was struck by an improvised explosive device. On that tragic day, 3 American soldiers made the ultimate sacrifice, displaying the kind of unwavering dedication that President Abraham Lincoln once described as giving the last full measure of devotion.
The driver of the vehicle sustained injuries, while our speaker, Staff Sergeant Shiloh Harris, suffered burns covering 35% of his body, along with a shattered collarbone and a broken C7 vertebrae. With only a 5% chance of survival, according to the medical prognosis, he defied the odds. Thanks to the heroic efforts of his fellow soldiers and a team of exceptional doctors, nurses, and medical staff.
Though his physical scars would remain, his journey of recovery transformed him emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Through immense perseverance and faith, he emerged as a new man, one dedicated to inspiring and empowering others to overcome adversity and rediscover purpose in their own lives.
In 2014, he shared his remarkable story in his book, Steel Will, a powerful testament to the strength, love, and resilience in the human spirit. This morning, as we prepare to hear from this incredible individual, we invite you to open your hearts and minds to a story of true triumph over hardship. Before we bring him onto the stage, please join us and watch a short video that captures his powerful journey. After the video, please join us in welcoming Staff Sergeant Shiloh Harris to the stage.
Thank you.
Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. The sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for our freedom.
My name is Staff Sergeant Shiloh Harris, retired United States Army. I joined the military after 9/11/2001, when our nation was attacked in one of the most heinous attacks in history. We lost almost 4,000 innocent lives in a matter of hours, I felt like it was my calling and my duty to serve my nation. My injuries and my scars are a gift. I feel like God's given me tools to serve my community better.
How are you? Nice to meet you. How are you doing, brother? How you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank y'all so much. God bless you. Thank you. Amazing. Amazing. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. And thank you for that warm welcome. They said this is going to be a high school presentation. I'm just going to tell you, I mean, this is an amazing audience. I thank you so very much. And I can tell that y'all put a lot of work into this. I can tell. I mean, I do a lot of events, and I'm just going to have to tell you, this is by far one of the best. Man, thank you so much. I know that y'all did a lot of work. God bless you guys. Thank you. So I'm just going to say I didn't realize Naperville was so popular. So as I was getting ready to come out here, I've been telling people, they're like, where are you going next? And I'm like, oh, I'm going up to Naperville. Oh, I know Naperville. And I figured I was going to have to use Chicago as a reference. Y'all don't need Chicago as a reference. People know. I mean, almost everybody knew where you guys were. It was incredible. So I was really excited to be out here. And, of course, I saw your beautiful downtown. Unfortunately, I didn't get here until 3 a.m., so y'all have to be easy on me if I run a little slow. I mean, I drank a lot of coffee, so I should be okay, but man, again, thank you so very much. So thank you to our veterans. Thank you so much for what you do. And, what you guys are doing here, I'm just going to tell you, we didn't serve for the thank yous. They're very, very much appreciated, though, when they're given. So thank you for giving us those thank yous, because we proudly served, and I know that, and it was selfless. So you welcoming us today into your beautiful community means a lot, and I know some of your hometown guys and gals, so, again, this is really important. And our first responders, thank you so much for what you do every day. Thank you. Anyway, so just to get started, I got to let you know, I say some funny things, all right? I know I probably look pretty serious. People are sometimes scared to laugh at the stuff I say because they're like, wait a minute, are we supposed to laugh? So just so you know, it's cool to laugh, all right? If you're the only one laughing, that's cool too, I guess. Maybe you got a dark sense of humor. I'm a little warped sometimes. It's all good. But, so with that being said, we're going to have a great journey. We're going to do a little bit of this, and we're going to wrap it up, and we're going to have a great afternoon, all right? So getting started. I'm in Naperville, and it's cold. I'm from Texas. Now, it gets cold in Texas, but, it's usually about January. So I definitely brought my big coat. I grew up in West Texas on top of that, and West Texas is real deserty. There's not a lot out there. And in fact, I feel like it was great training for me to end up in Iraq. I didn't ever make it to Afghanistan. We had that conversation earlier. Never made it over there, but I had 2 tours in Iraq. But anyway, so I'm out there in West Texas. I get invited back home because that's where I grew up, right? hometown events and that sort of thing. Well, one of the events that I was going out there, I noticed I had my cowboy boots on, I had my belt buckle on, but I didn't have a cowboy hat. And me being a burn guy, I have a hard time regulating my body temperature. And that's a true story. It's like the scar tissue just doesn't breathe. And underneath this, there's a lot of scars. So I have to be really careful. And it's West Texas. I mean, it's the desert. Well, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go get a cowboy hat, obviously, for two reasons. One, help keep the sun off of me. But two, I got to complete the outfit, right? This is probably one of the first times I got to go shopping. So I went to the Western wear store, and I told the little girl, I said, I don't even know what size my head is nowadays. So let's start small and work our way up. She did what I asked. She brought over a couple of hats. The first hat was like a child's hat. Had an elastic band in it, and it was like barely sat on the crown of my head. Okay, well, that was not it, right? So I was pulling that one off. And like a good salesperson, I think she figured she could just size me up, like this hat was going to fit. Well, she set it up there as I was pulling that other one off and popped it down. Well, when she did, both my ears popped off. And they're kind of rubbery. So, it's like they hit the floor and they're bouncing around. Now, granted, I'm in West Texas, I'm back home. But, I went through my recovery in San Antonio. San Antonio, they're used to seeing guys and gals missing stuff, or scars everywhere. Well, I'm out here in West Texas, and I'm scrambling to pick up my ears, and no joke, I was embarrassed. My face was probably as red as your shirt. Sorry, I'm still getting that coffee down. But anyway, so I was so embarrassed because I hadn't had my ears very long. And there they were bouncing around on the floor, and I'm scrambling, and I look up, and that little girl, I scared her. It was like, she was like, I didn't even know what to say. This had never happened. It was probably the first time me actually wearing my ears in public, and I felt like Dumbo. Really, know Dumbo, the elephant, right? I felt that way. Look at this. I'm really aerodynamic like this. Bro, it's like, put a little suntan oil on, and I jump in the pool, and I'm skipping on the water. So, anyway, it was new to me. I didn't even know what to say. I said the first thing that came to mind. I was like, whew, I bet that happens a lot, huh? That little girl was not having it. In fact, I could see that mine and her relationship were coming to an end, so thought I'd let her down easy. Yeah. I was like, I think I'll just look around. So needless to say, I didn't buy the hat. But I got onto my event, and I was telling my buddies about it. And one of them's a Baptist preacher, and the other one is a Vietnam veteran. And as veterans, as I mentioned a minute ago, we're kind of warped, I think it comes with some of the things that we have to see. We have I guess you could say a darker sense of humor. We'll laugh at things, and most people are going, ew, and we're like, ha. It's like a coping mechanism, Well, anyway, I figured the veteran would be the one kind of poking fun at me, like, oh, you lost your ears or whatever. Well, he was the one patting me on the back, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's good. And the Baptist preacher looks at me, and he goes, dude, you could have got a free hat. I was like, what? He said, when your ears fell off, you should have went, ah! I was like, if I'd have got enough attention, I've got a new hat, new boots, whole new outfit. All right, everybody feeling good this morning? All right, do y'all give the kids coffee, or do they have to bring their own? I'm just curious. I swear, my kids, they don't need coffee. I wish I could bottle up some of that energy. We're going to dive in here and, talk about some other stuff. But again, like I said, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to have a great time, all right? So I joined the military after 9/11/2001. And I know that pretty much everybody in here knows what that means, Something that, a lot of people don't remember is that our nation was attacked in one of the worst attacks in history. We lost over 3,000 lives in a matter of hours. And I remember I was, 27 years old when this happened. I wasn't a kid. I wasn't, fresh out of high school or something like that, getting ready to join the military. This happened, and I just felt like I needed to do something, because it scared me. It's like you're watching this happen, and it's like, oh my gosh, we're under attack. We didn't know what was going to come next. But at 27, now, why did I join the military at 27? Not just because of 9/11, I can assure you. Because I came from a family of veterans. My father and my grandfather both served in the military, so I honestly felt like it was inevitable that I joined the military. But when I was younger, about y'all's age, I got in a lot of trouble. And when I say that, a lot of trouble, you know, it was nothing like really serious. But that's the issue, is some of the things that you experience and some of the challenges that you face at your age is that, oh, you know, this won't really affect me. This is, you know, I'll grow up and outgrow this. Some of that stuff will follow you for the rest of your life. No matter how old you are, no matter how insignificant you think it is, it's on your record. That's alcohol, that's drugs, that's all the little things that you think that don't matter. And it almost prevented me from joining the military. You know, fortunately, you know, a lot of that stuff was in my past at that time, and so the recruiter took a chance on me. But before I went and actually talked to the Army recruiter, I'll tell you this, I talked to my dad. My dad, you know, he was an infantry guy, so I figured he'd be all like, yeah, man, you know, kick in doors, arrest bad guys and all that. And anyway, he was looking at my age, you know, because I was 27, and he was probably thinking, well, man, he's kind of old to be joining the military. So he's like, dude, join the Air Force. It's so much better. It's like a career, you know? And I was like, all right, you know, and then one of my friends was Air Force. So I did. I went to the Air Force recruiting office, and I remember he almost laughed me out of the office because he's like, you're 27? Ah. He's like, no. He said, we got people coming in here every day. And that was fun. But I walked out of the door, and my idea was they had this military mall. You know, it's like every branch right there. And so I figured I'd just go door to door until somebody took me. But I come out of the Air Force recruiting, and the Army recruiter was literally waiting on me. I mean, he's like leaned up against the wall. I'm like, what's up? I was like, you waiting on me? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, let's do it. So I went in there. I knew what I was getting into. I joined cavalry. It was a combat arm, definitely. Wasn't infantry, because that was the other stipulation. My dad was like, don't join the infantry. It'll make an old man out of you. I've learned it. There's a lot of it that'll make an old man out of you. Doesn't matter which one you join, but you know, all joking aside, you know, I do want to point out that our Vietnam veterans, our World War II veterans, but our Vietnam veterans specifically, you know, they paid a huge price for all veterans. You know, when they got back from Vietnam, you know, they wasn't as patriotic back then. And, you know, they had to fight through that and fight through those stereotypes to make sure that veterans that came after them were welcomed home properly. Which brings me again to today and how important it is, not just for our generation, but for every generation. You know, some of these guys have never gotten that welcome home. So what you're doing is so very important. Now, getting into it a little bit, I didn't know if any of you noticed, I was wearing a Spock ear today. Did anybody notice that? Are you kidding, really? Okay, all right. So, you know, sometimes I'll walk around just to see if people notice. You know, it's like if you want to put on the different color shoes or something, you know, some people are like, oh, okay, whatever. You know, I'm like, some people will actually come up and be like, hey, you got the different ears on. I'm like, oh, yeah, you noticed. All right. Well, you know, we're getting close to Christmas. I thought I'd keep it lively, a little festive today. But I have cauliflower ears too, you know, because I have like this whole macho persona. I try. So I had cauliflower ears made, and one of my buddies, he's a former MMA fighter, he said, you didn't earn them. And I was thinking, I can order whatever ears I want. Earn them. Crazy. What you thinking? But again, I joined the cavalry. I knew what I was getting into. I had 2 deployments to Iraq. The first one was tactical, as I mentioned, you know, kicking in doors, arresting bad guys, all that cool stuff. You know, everything that I was hoping it would be. And it was very fulfilling, but it was also pretty scary at times. You know, things would happen that, you know, I'd get back to my room and be thankful that I made it through that day. And that's what combat is, you know. I mean, it's not every day that these things happen, but, you know, when they do happen, it's a matter of being a team and reacting to it in a positive way, which leads up to my second deployment with the 10th Mountain Division. It was another great deployment, very tactical, but this deployment was a little different in the sense that we were working more on a humanitarian level, meaning that there were times that we would escort medical teams into areas where people had never seen a doctor before in their entire life. You know, and I mean, it was really rewarding to see things like going and helping rebuild a school, deliver school supplies to children that didn't even know what Crayolas were. I mean, some of the school buildings, the school houses, were as big as this section of seating right here in the front. They'd have a door and a couple of windows with no glass, maybe a desk or two. I mean, there just really wasn't a lot that they had. And so anything was appreciated, and to see that and be a part of that was so rewarding. And yeah, it felt pretty good to arrest some bad guys every now and then too. But seeing both sides of it, it really made me feel like I was doing a good job. And I know I was. But unfortunately, on February 19, 2007, we were working in an area south of Baghdad around Yusufia, Mahmudiya. You know, and for those of you that know, it was a really bad area. All the roads were named after heavy metal bands, like Route Metallica, Megadeth, all that, right? Rightfully so, because there were IED holes riddled out there. All of those roads, I mean, that's why they named them after heavy metal bands, because there was an IED went off in that area almost every day of my deployment. We had to remain extremely vigilant, but we also had to go do our jobs, knowing that those things were out there. But we did it. And unfortunately, on February 19th, we got a call to investigate a possible IED. And just in case you don't know, IED, improvised explosive device. IED. That means it can literally be anything. Anything. I mean, it doesn't look like a bomb. It could look like a soda can with C4 in it. I mean, there's just all kinds of these variations. So when they say, hey, there's an IED over here, we didn't really know what we were looking for. We just had to go and try to find something that looked out of place. Oh, I ran them off. We'll give them just a moment. Anyway, we got the call, and we're on our way out there. And unfortunately, we believed that they set it up like an ambush, knowing where we were, and gave us a location that we would have to drive through an area. And about halfway to the site that was reported, my Humvee, the third truck in the convoy, literally erupted. 3 of the 4 Humvee doors were blown off, and the entire top of the truck was blown off. And as you saw from the video, I lost 3 friends. I was knocked unconscious for a little bit. I don't know how long, but eventually I woke up, and I was the truck commander, so I had the hand mic in my hand. And I remember trying to key the hand mic, but I wasn't hearing anything. And I remember looking down, and the cable was burnt completely off of the hand mic. So I threw the hand mic down. I knew I needed to get out of the Humvee because I could feel the flames and the heat, because the truck was still on fire. And as I'm pushing on the door, this arm felt weird. And I remember looking over, and it was burned up really bad. But I knew I still needed to get out of the truck because I could feel the flames, and it was starting to be uncomfortable. I finally get out of the truck, and another thing is that door, that armored up door, was embedded in all that dirt and asphalt from the explosion. So I don't know exactly how I got out, maybe divine intervention, but I'm just very thankful to be out of the truck. I get out, I'm standing there, and I'm taking in all this carnage and stuff, and I can see them messing with my driver. My driver, he's a big guy, and he's kind of thrashing at everybody. He's got blood running everywhere. I mean, it was just a mess, right? And I'm like, as an NCO, I start barking orders. I'm like, hey, who's pulling security? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? And then everybody just stops. And they're staring at me. And of course, now I realize that they were probably thinking, who is that? Because of the way I looked. One of my buddies, one of my attention got redirected over here to the lead vehicles. And I could see one of my buddies waving at me. He's trying to get me to come to him. But I could see his mouth moving, but I wasn't hearing anything. So anyway, I kind of went back over here because I could feel my leg burning. And I turned my attention over here, and when I looked down, the flames licked me in the face, but my body armor was on fire, and the material was melting and running down my leg. And so I had to take my body armor off. I get my body armor off, get that fire put out, and then again, maybe another moment of divine intervention, but it was my ammo pouches that were on fire. So I had 200 plus bullets that were about to start cooking off. So I got that taken care of, and I turned back around to see what my buddy wanted, and he wasn't there. But he came up behind me, and I didn't ever see him come around me. He grabs me, and we start running together. Now, when I said I couldn't hear him, it was like I could feel that compression, like altitude kind of compression on your ears. And so everything was real muffled. But when he hit me, getting me away from my Humvee, my ears popped. And I heard it. Pop and a zing, pop and a zing. Bullets were flying all around me, and I didn't know it. And I had been standing right there by the truck, and that's what it was. Instead of, my first thought was, great, well, now they're shooting at me. But what was happening is all those cans of ammo that were in my Humvee was cooking off, and all those bullets were flying all around me. And so he ran out there. Think about that. He ran out there in a hell of bullets, knowing that he could easily catch one. That's the kind of men and women that you're honoring today. The kind of men and women that run towards the danger. The kind of men and women that don't just do it for friends and family. They do it for their brothers, their sisters. They do it for their country. That's what you're honoring today. So thank you so much for honoring our veterans again. And I'm not done, just so you know. So don't start jumping up and clapping yet. I didn't want to make that honor awkward. It felt like, oh, he's capping it off. Okay, no, we're almost there, I promise. So anyway, they get me over there, and he runs and gets me on the ground. We start CLF, so it was a combat lifesaver procedures, getting me ready for the medevac and that sort of thing. Everything just happened so good. I mean, just boom, boom, boom. They get me on the helicopter. I get to the green zone. The last thing I remember is asking where my friends are. And I had been asking. But it's either nobody knew or nobody could tell me, or wanted to tell me because of the shape that I was in. But I kept asking, where's my friends? Where's my soldiers? Where's my friends? Where's my soldiers? And the last thing was, I was in the OR, and this doctor up above me, he looked down at me, and I'll never forget his eyes. In fact, I'm pretty sure I met him not long ago. It's funny how things come full circle like that. But I remember he looked at me, and he said, you'll find out in a couple of months where your friends are. I had no idea what that meant, but in that moment, I was medically induced in a coma that I spent about 48 days in. And I say about loosely because, for me, I was so heavily medicated for so long, it wasn't like I'm waking up and going to go get a cup of coffee today. This was one of those things where it's such a gradual process that, I used markers. It was like, not like, oh yeah, it was Thursday and sun was out, I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember much of that. But I do remember the day that they walked into my hospital room and they said, Sergeant Harris, today we want you to take 10 steps. I was like, 10 steps? I was like, man, I'm a combat soldier. I'm going to own this hospital. I was all cocky about it, thinking I own it, right? I do 25-mile ruck marches. Well, just getting out of bed was excruciating. Everything hurt. And I had 3 little shuffles. I was so completely exhausted that, I wanted to throw up. I was that physically exhausted. And I didn't even walk far enough that I had to, step back to fall in bed. But something else I did, and this is where I really want you guys to pay attention. Something that I did, well, okay, I'll tell you why this is important first, so that way you understand why I think it's important for you. Because inevitably, at some point in your life, you're going to face a challenge that you're going to see impossible. You're going to face something that it's going to be emotionally, physically, or mentally challenging, and it's going to push you to your brink. That's this moment for me. And I pray that when I get done sharing this with you, that you realize how strong you are. Because I had no idea how strong I was until I was put in that position. It's probably why all of your parents and grandparents are like, you can literally do anything. It's true. How many of you know exactly where you're going to go after graduation? College? Who's going to college? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So who knows exactly what career they're going to go into? Wow, that's actually really impressive. But at the same time, I feel like, at y'all's age, a lot of you should know where you're going, right? When I say you can be anything, so during COVID, I didn't have things like this. We couldn't get together. So I decided to go back to school. And I'm going to tell you, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I'm 50 years old, And I got there and I started looking at all the classes and I'm like, I didn't even know that was a career. You know, I was like, I definitely want to do that, and that, and that. And then I'm like, well, how many majors can I have, you know? Well, I was faced with that moment when I could only take 3 little shuffles. And when I laid back down in that bed, I started poisoning myself. I started saying things like, I can't, I won't, they can't make me. It's too hard. You know, all of these things. And now here's the thing is when you start saying those things, and in that moment I believed it. And we get in that funky dark spot when we hit that wall like I was talking about. And I hit that spot, and I did. I started poisoning myself. You are literally poisoning yourself. You're pushing yourself further into depression, and I did that. Until about 3 or 4 days of this pity party went by, and then my mom came in, My mom came in, and she was rubbing my feet and feeding me breakfast because I couldn't even use my hands. I mean, I was like this for months. You know, my arms, I couldn't move them or anything. So they'd have to feed me and all that stuff. Well, she came in, she was rubbing my feet, and we were talking, and she was like, we really need you to do this, Shiloh. It's so important. Your family needs you. And I'm like, yeah, I know. You know, kind of half-hearted about it. Well, she leaves, and then my father comes in. And when he comes in, he doesn't say a word. And my dad, he was not the lovey, cuddly kind of daddy. I mean, he was an infantryman. I mean, he just, this is love. And he just stood at the foot of my bed, and he just stared at me. And just kept staring at me and kept staring at me. And I was trying not to really give him the attention that, I thought he was looking for. And I'm watching TV, kind of ignoring him. You know, we all know there's a message here, right? And anyway, so I'm just trying to ignore him. And then finally, I look at him and I'm like, well, what is it? I was super rude. Anyway, he just looked at me still, just kept dragging it out, probably waiting for that right moment, which he did. And then finally he said, are you done, soldier? I said, excuse me, sir? He said, are you done, soldier? I said, no, sir, I am not. Now think about that for just 1 minute. If somebody was to walk up to you and say, are you a quitter? Are you giving up? Is this it? Is this your last day? Is this your legacy? Is this the legacy that you want to leave people? That you're quitting, you're giving up? And I mean, it happened like that. And I was like, no, sir, I am not done. And he said, then get up and start doing the work that you know you need to. And I did. I mean, physical therapists come around, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. I'm trying to be motivated. Well, those 3 steps turned into 10 steps, and then so on, and then here I am. Well, one day around the hospital, I was able to walk to the restroom by myself, right? But that was about it, because I was a fall hazard. So, I used the rails, but I still couldn't use my hands very well, so I had to pull my IV with my hand like this. And anyway, I went to the restroom, and then I noticed it was real quiet. And, and honestly, that was really weird because the hospital's like, always something going on. And I remember I was like, it's real quiet. So I walked to the door. I was like, what? It's like, there's nobody there. And then here's the other thing is, I got this. So when I was going through my recovery, in a wheelchair and stuff, they were trying to get me motivated by showing me where Burger King and other food places were. Well, I knew Burger King was down in the basement. Now, I'm just going to say the food wasn't great because, for one, I was kind of like ICU, so I was on a very strict diet. But I'm going to tell you, I just came off a deployment. The last thing I remember, I was in Iraq. And now I'm in the hospital, and I'm eating this really bad food. And, dude, I'm going to tell you what, I remember having conversations in Iraq, like, man, I would do anything for a cheeseburger. It's like, well, I sneak all the way down to Burger King. And I say sneak, it really wasn't hard. There was nobody there. And they left the door open. It's not my fault. I make it all the way down to Burger King, dragging my IV in my little burn suit, which is kind of weird, But anyway, I didn't even have a pocket. I didn't have a wallet. And I'm trying to order a Whopper. And the little girl looks at me and she goes, what are you going to do with it? And I was like, if I could just get it in front of me, I'd be like, I mean, I was wanting to do dang near anything. Well, I got caught. It's like, Sergeant Harris, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh. Trying to sneak out of there. You didn't see nothing. If I'd have had ears, she probably would have grabbed me by my ear and took me all the way back upstairs. I'm pretty sure I made hospital policy that day. Not in a good way. Look, so very blessed. I've been so blessed in so many ways. Thank y'all so much for honoring us today. God bless you guys.
For your service, and so thankful that you're able to be with us here today to share that powerful message with the Red Hawk community. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are going to close our program with America the Beautiful. But while we are getting set, I'm going to say my final thank yous. I'd like to thank you one more time, members of our Veterans Club, to our student musicians that made today's ceremony so special. I'd like to thank Mrs. Cowart for all the work she did to make this possible, Mr. Allstott, Mr. Estes, Mrs. Milkars, Ms. Berryhill, Mr. France, Mr. Lure, and all of the students on the tech crew who made today's event possible. Thank you for your time and for that preparation. And thank you to members of our advanced choir and wind ensemble who are going to close our ceremony this morning with America the Beautiful.